Good morning. We will complete this effective technical writing session. In this part, we will discuss the research proposal presentation. In earlier sessions, we have seen technical writing characteristics and then how to develop the research proposal, then formats of research proposal. And these things we have seen importance of research proposal and what do you mean by research proposal, what are the requirements, then what things it should include. So these things we have seen. What are its aims, and then contents of an research proposal, which includes review, aims, objective, research design, methods, ethical considerations, budget, time, and then citations. And in detail, we have seen in each of the part or in each section what is to be included, like in introduction, then review, literature review, then what should be there in the literature review. So we have seen 5 C's, aims and objectives of research proposal, how to write, and then in the research design and regarding budgets, timeline, appendices, and citations. And we have seen some couple of samples, and this is related to the budget and timeline. And also you have seen different structures, DST structure, then SARB sample, general format as well as field formats we have seen. And at the end we have discussed what common mistakes one need to avoid while writing the research proposal. And then at the end we have seen these various funding agencies, Indian government funding agencies like AICT, then DST, then India Science, ICSSR. Apart from this, we have seen a list of funding agencies for research proposal like environmental forest research literature. Then this is the major one, Department of Science and Technology, then atomic energy, biotechnology, education, Department of Food Processing, non-conventional energy sources, then information system for science technology, such around 30, more than 30 agencies, 37 funding agencies are available. In fact, 40, more than 40. See here, with all the details, Ministry of Agricultural. So around 66 funding agencies or programs or the schemes are available to write a proposal and submit it for the funding purpose. Apart from this, there are some international funding agencies also available. That is International Foundation for Science, World Academy of Science, then United Nations, CIMMYT, British Council. So these are some international funding agencies which can be utilized by a researcher. And after this, we will see what are the presentation tips that one need to, because once suppose researcher has written or submitted the research proposal, and then after shortlisting, the researcher has to give the presentation in front of evaluation committee. And what are the some basic things which the presenter has to keep in mind? So those things we will discuss here. So first point is title or research topic. So, and it should be of one slide, obviously. The title should not be of A medium sentence title must be there. And how it should be framed to ensure that your title and topic of point directly to the focus of your research. So your title should focus your research, or it should highlight your research, and also check to see that the key terms in the statement of the gap in the literature and research aim are reproduced in the title. So it should incorporate the research gap, then literature and research aim in that title. So accordingly, one has to frame the title or has to write the title, which should highlight the novelty and the research gap, these things, and also it should focus on that particular research. Second one, now the next slides may be of content slides, and after contents, generally the introduction slide is there, and then the literature uh, part is there, or research problem part is there, and this is comprised of 1 to 2 slides. So research gap or research problem should be of 1 to 2 slides, and in this you should incorporate what is your research, how you are going to carry out, why it is necessary, why it is important, and how it is important to the society or to that particular system. So those things, these questions must be addressed in these 1 or 2 slides. What is the issue? What are the problems? How this is controversial, if anything there? Then how important it is? Then set your research into wider context of the discipline. So related to that discipline, how it is uh, significant. These things one need to highlight in the research problem and justification slides. So generally these be prepared in 1 or maximum 2 slides. Now next comes gap. Now this outlines the field of literature. So literature review you have to carry out. A researcher has already carried out literature review while writing the research proposal, and from that the researcher has to summarize either in terms of tables or pie charts or some visuals, and also he need to find out the gaps, main findings or main gaps within that existing literature. And what are the main findings up to date, what are the different theories, what are the discussions by previous researchers, and what are the remaining questions or problems which are not still answered. In those things one need to highlight in these 3 to 4 slides. So in some cases it should be some people summarize it within 1 slides or 2 slides. So maximum it should be up to 4 slides. So because if you are done extensive literature, then it may be possible that couple of slides will go into that literature tables or literature review slides, and then you can highlight the different analysis, or you can discuss the methodologies in one of the slides, and in one of the slides you can clearly identify the gaps or unanswered questions, unanswered research problems, and you should explain how this research will contribute to this gap. So these things should be incorporated within within these 1 to 4 slides of research gap. After that, the next slides should be research aim, objectives, questions or hypothesis, and generally this is of 1 slide is sufficient, and it should outline the focus or names of specific knowledge the research methodology aims to generate, and generally this should answer these following questions, like what will you need to know to answer this research question, or how can you find out this solution for this research question, then whether it is qualitative or quantitative methodology you are going to implement, and how the data will be collected. So these kind of questions will be answered within your research aim and objectives, or you should answer these questions, and this has to be fit in one slide. Next come the research method and methodologies in detail. So it it should these slides should explain what you will do to achieve the research aim. So what is your plan, or how you are going to achieve that aim, or have you reached to your conclusions? Those things should be incorporated, and for that, how much time will you need, what equipment and facilities will be used, and are you going to collaborate with any other person, any other researcher, organizations, institutes, or how much budget is required, probable budget. Then is it related to animal research, or does it involve any animals? If it is so, then what kind of appropriate training are needed? Then also one need to understand the legislations related to those things. Then one need to stick with the ethics and confidentiality that involve. Do you need ethical approvals from someone or some organizations? Can you get enough data from for your research? And if it is so, then have you taken out permission from those particular data agencies? Then how will you keep it confidential? If the data who has given, if they want that their data should be kept confidential, then you need to adhere with that conditions. So all these issues comes under this ethics and confidentiality, and one needs to address these things if it is there in their research. Also, health and safety consideration must be given if it is related to some hazardous instruments, or which may uh, give hazardous things, or so all these things must be considered while preparing the presentation for the research proposal. Then lastly, summary or statement of proposed outcomes of the research, that you should details within the slides following the overview slide may include information about what kind of theory the researcher is going to incorporate, which tools are used, and whether those are available, or if you want to purchase those things, one need to mention. Then description of experiment or design tool, what kind of description or what kind of experiments or designs the researcher is going to perform. Those things should be described. Then for related to data, population or sample size, how it is selected, then from where it is taken out that sample, whether it is global or local, those things also need to mention. Then what is the sample size, then how sample is selected, then also related to the while collecting the data, it may be of surveys, questionnaires, or tests used to collect the data, and how this data is generated should be analyzed, and what are the tools used for analyzing these, and how these uh, collected data is interpreted, or one need to describe it. And finally, they need to conclude that why their research proposal should be selected, and why it should get the funding from the funding agency, and how it is useful to the society, and to the uh, how it will contribute to the knowledge of that particular domain. So these things must be incorporated. So total, if you see one, and here two slides if you pick, so three, four, 7, 1, 8, and 5, 13, and 1, 14. And apart from this, if you want to include, you can add one slide for references. So maximum 15 slides can be used while presenting this research proposal. And in some cases, if you want to show some real-time experiments, so you can incorporate some images or videos also to address or to highlight the importance or to importance of that your research problem, and how it should get the funding and how useful that research is, you need to highlight. So these are some of the presentation tips one need to address. These are some of the references which are used while preparing this presentation. So you can go through these websites or earlier uh, slides also. So in summary, in this third chapter, we have seen initially we have seen the technical writing, then its characteristics. Then in technical writing, we mainly focused on report writing and paper writing. And there also we have considered the tips for writing the thesis or dissertation or report. And also we have discussed the uh, paper writing and for different publishers, for different conference, how we can write the papers or articles. Those things we have seen. After that, in this point, we have discussed what is research proposal, why it is important, and what things are needed while writing the research proposal, what are its formats, and then what are the different agencies available in India. And at the end, today we have summarized what are the points need to be taken care while preparing for the presentation in front of evaluation committee to get the funding for the research. So this ends our third chapter, and in the next chapter we will discuss about the patents, IPRs, and all other things. So we will stop here. Thank you.